Understand this. The truth about your credit. You can dispute anything on your credit report. Anything. It doesn't matter if you know the item is yours or not. I will say this too. Even if you know you owe the debt, it does not mean you have to pay it or legally you owe it. You have the right to do so by the Fair Credit Reporting Act. People, well, it's mine. How can I dispute it? Here's another reason why. The onus of the reporting is not on you or I. It is on the debt collectors, creditors, and credit bureaus. They make mistakes all the time. They get away with it because people don't know what to look for until tonight. Now you know. So, pop quiz. What are the 4 tiers to your credit report? Feel free to shout it out. I promise if you get it wrong, I will not hurt you. I'll just laugh. Put in the chat. Let's see here. I got debt, history. All right, I'm asking the question again. What are the 4 tiers to your credit report? Payment history, debt to income ratio. Okay. Oh, the answer is coming in 5, 4, holds account. Okay, these are good guesses. These are good answers. Credit cards, installment loans, hard inquiries, they pay in their time or not. All right. Length of credit. Okay, okay. So what are the 4 tiers of your credit report? Answer in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Personal information, hard inquiries, accounts, and public record. Mixed credit. There we go. Yeah, so your credit report has 4 different tiers: personal information, hard inquiries, accounts, public record. Okay, remember this is very, 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 very important. Okay, here's part 3, or pop this part 3. So we now have the 4 tiers. All right. Out of these 4 tiers, which is the one that you want to make sure is the most up to date? Is it personal information, hard inquiries, accounts, or public record, which holds bankruptcies and judgments? Which one of the 4? I got accounts. Everyone's agreeing accounts. All right. The answer, ladies and gentlemen, is personal information. I'm about to give you a ton of reasons to why it's a good thing this is recorded. So, personal information section, right? This section is going to contain your name, any variations of it, old addresses, current address, your phone number, your social, all the addresses you've had on there, and whatever employers you put down. Okay, this is important. When you go get your credit pulled, they're pulling all 4 tiers. Okay, when it comes to your name, you will have your name as it's legally written, and then you have a whole bunch of variations of your name on there. When you're applying for like a mortgage or let it be employment in this case, they pull your credit report. And for example, it's me. Oh, my name is Matt Dillingham, but if I got a whole bunch of variations of my name and aliases on there and old addresses, it, 1, makes me look shady at best. 2, it makes me look fraudulent. End of the day, folks, your credit is information on you, and no one's really gonna ask you what happened. They'll take it for face value and go, well, this looks like doggy do. Declined. They will just do away with it. Okay. Also in this section, anything in this section is old, outdated, and erroneous or attached to negative item on your credit report. Meaning, if you're disputing a collection account, for example, okay, that collection account, you could have created that at an old address, 3 years ago. You dispute it, the bureau's lazy, and they will look into this section to see what name and address is attached to the account. And they'll come back and say it was verified as you. Well, let's back up here. 1, how do they know it was you beyond a shadow of a doubt? They don't. 2, I've had clients and myself look at this section. They've had their names misspelled. My name is once spelled in a way I've never spelled it before. Clients have looked in this. They've had addresses on there that they've never lived at. And it's like, how does that get on my credit report? It happens, okay? Ladies, if you've been married, you have your main name on here that makes you right for fraud. Take that off because, again, someone gets your information. That's on there. Hey, as far as the lenders are concerned, it's on the credit report. It must be true. They will side with them 100% of the time until you prove otherwise. If you've been divorced, and you have your married name on there, take that off. Okay, same thing. All right. When it comes to old addresses on your file, you want those off too, because two things. One, there's a good chance someone else is living there, and so they run into financial difficulty. You can have their stuff placed on your credit report. Two, if you have stuff in collections, collection agencies do anything illegal and shady to get money out of you. So if they're trying to sue you, they will intentionally, okay, have the court summons go to the old addresses on file. Therefore, you don't get them. They show up to court, you don't know about it. So guess who gets a default judgment in their favor? They do. But it's kind of hard to show. It's kind of hard to show up for court when you don't know about it. Okay. When it comes to your name too, as well, it's very important. If your name is misspelled by just one letter, it makes everything else in your credit report fraudulent. Why? Because that's a different person on paper. When it comes to credit, it's all about how you look on paper. So if your name is spelled a certain way and it's off by one letter, you can have their stuff placed in your credit report. Okay. So what you want to do, and I'll give you the form for this, we call it our compliance form. I'll upload this in the chat later on. This gives you the directions and phone numbers to call the bureau so it has the information updated. When you do this part, it can help boost your scores anywhere between like 20 to 70 points by itself. All right. And warning on this part too is that when you do this part, the bureaus know what you're trying to do, and they may try and give you a hard time because they don't want the information off. That's how they make their money. So if they give you a hard time, hang up the phone, call back 5 minutes the next day, sometime later. Two, when you do this, they should give you a confirmation number. Keep that number handy. Why? That is your receipt saying that they're going to remove this information. Because what happens sometimes with some clients I work with, they'll do this part, tell me about it, and then months later, I check the credit report or something, okay? And then I've seen in this section, the personal information section, the bureaus only removed some of the names and addresses, or they didn't remove anything. So when that happens, you have the confirmation number to say, hey, you said you're going to remove this. Here's the proof. Hold them accountable because they will do anything to make you quit and scare you, a whole bunch of stuff. They have their own salt tactics too, and people don't know, okay? So this advice section is very, 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 very important. Check the chat real quick.
Oh, yeah, Matt, one question from the chat. What if you hyphenate your last name?
That's fine. You can do that, but like, let me actually let me answer this way. When you do this part, and I'm glad you asked the question. When you call in, you want to have in your personal information section one name the way it's listed on your social security card legally. That's that. You want to have one current address, one phone number, one social. Make sure social is correct. No old addresses, and then one current employer. You look clean on paper. The other side to it is this. When you don't update this section and you apply for like credit cards, loans, and also employment, right? Or actually just for underwriting purposes in this case. Everything's being automated now. So when you apply for a credit card and like all these loans, the reason why you get it back so quickly is because it's a machine looking at your stuff. When you have a whole bunch of names and addresses on there, that machine then goes through every single possibility of who you could be. This is your address, this name, that name, all this stuff to say who you are. So when that happens, that'll kick you out of automatic underwriting and can slow things down. Then someone else has to look into this information, then go, okay, and then ask more stuff for you. This is an issue because back in the day, it didn't matter. If you had a whole bunch of stuff going on in your credit report, eventually you would either see them in person. If not, they're going to get your ID, tax documents, or whatever that show, hey, here's who I am legally. I'm verifying who I am. Nowadays, it's not the same. That's why you can apply everywhere and get all sorts of approvals and denials. So
that excellent answer, Matt. There's one more question. What if you don't have a current employer? Do you wait to update until you do?
Yeah, you can do that. That part isn't as important. You can leave it blank and then update it later on. It's just the other stuff you want to make sure is clean, looks good. Because again, it's just information, and very few places are going to ask you, "Hey, what happened on your credit report?" And if they do, it's a very humbling experience to be like, "Well, what happened was this woman I met. Nah, I've been through that before. And I'll tell you the story a little bit. It's very embarrassing. It's like it's just my credit history. I'm trying to change my life. This should be a factor, but unfortunately, it is."